Hey y'all, and welcome to Southland Piper. I'm your host Tim. Hope you're doing well. I've got a Peterson Kildare shape 406. It's an estate pipe that I picked up some time ago, but I'd like to restore it the best I can. It's got a few issues. There's a hole in the stem at the bit on the underside that we're going to have to repair. It is a P-lip. The nomenclature on the stummel is pretty light to begin with. I'm not sure what was done on this pipe in the past. It certainly didn't come out of the factory with this light of nomenclature, I wouldn't think. And then the bowl itself on the top rim, it's going to need some work. But the overall condition is okay, so it won't be too bad. So let's turn around to the workbench and see how I accomplish this um, restoration. All right, let's take a closer look at this Peterson Kildare. It's not the worst shape in the world, but oddly, the bottom of the bowl is pretty flat. It's a little hard to tell from here, but definitely some over-reaming someone did. Stem on top's not too bad. Then we had some electrical tape wrapped around it. Now the bottom is where we're going to have a little bit of repair. Somebody decided to put a hole in it. Not necessarily uncommon. The nomenclature is pretty light. And it'll probably get even lighter after we're doing some sanding. Like I said, it's pretty bad. Looks like a 406 is the shape. The tenon is good and tight in the mortise, so the stem fits real well. That's a little surprising. You know, basically your good old dirty, well-loved pipe. So first thing we'll address in this will be the stem. Now, since we will be gluing, using some super glue on that hole, we're going to get this stem pretty much totally cleaned up, so we have some good surfaces to work with. So we'll just start with a general cleaning of the airway and go from there. All right, I'm fairly happy with the inside of that stem, the cleanness of it. This is vulcanite, so let's see what we can do about raising some of these tooth marks up a little bit, applying a little heat. Sometimes stems respond really well to that. Other times they don't. Well, it raised, sorry, got you out of frame a little bit, I believe. Raised up a little bit. Just a little bit. So, what I'm going to do next is just do some general sanding and cleaning of the surfaces. Want to get this all cleaned up so we can work on that hole. So let me do some cleaning, and it'll be some sandpaper work, some wheel work, maybe even a little bit of a file here and there, but let's see if we can get it cleaned up a little bit. It appears like we've got fairly good amount of material on this top, so I'm going to file a little bit. You just want to take nice rounded strokes, only cutting in the one direction, and we'll see if we can't get this top looking a little bit better. Well, I've done the initial file work and started sanding with some 400 grit. but the top of the stem's looking pretty well. You know, electrical tape did serve the purpose of not allowing a lot of oxidation, but the stem itself really isn't that heavily oxidized. And so sanding will probably be the method I mostly use, because I see no evidence of a logo on there. Maybe just the faintest of the P, maybe, but that can't be brought back. But we'll continue on with some more sanding. All right, let's put this on the wheel a little bit. I think it's looking pretty good. A few years ago, I started suffering migraine headaches, and the doctor told me I needed to do something to relax. So 3 years ago, I took up the pipe. About 2 years ago, I started working on pipes. So you don't have to have super fancy setup or a lot of experience. You just gotta be willing to try. If you're always comfortable with everything you do, yeah, there's the backside. If you're always comfortable with everything you do, you're not pushing yourself. Sometimes you got to do stuff that makes you a little uncomfortable to try to grow. And so that's the attitude I've taken with my pipes. I give it a shot. I give it a try. Sometimes things work pretty well. Sometimes they don't. But I'm strictly a hobbyist when it comes to working on pipes. But I do enjoy it, and it does help me to relax. I think that's a very good start, I believe. All right, I'm gonna rough up this side, to give the glue something really good to hang on to, get into some really good fresh material. I've mentioned this before in one of my videos. This is one of those variable speed little drills that people that do nails, fingernails, for a living, they use these. These could be picked up fairly cheap, and they do a lot of nice work. There's a lot of things you could do with them. Get a few bits, and so that's what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna work around that opening with this little rounded bit and get some really good fresh material for our glue to hold on to. Not trying to go super crazy on it. I believe that'll do. I'll clean that up with some alcohol, and we'll apply some glue. Now, typically, when I get ready to patch a hole in the stem, I will cut a little piece of index card and cover it with some Vaseline and, slide it into the slot of a fishtail bit. And that gives me a protected area so I don't block up the bore with glue. And some people say, hey, just, put some Vaseline on a pipe cleaner and put it down in there. Well, I have done that several times, but one time, I don't know if I got too much glue or not enough Vaseline or what, but I ended up gluing a pipe cleaner down into a Savinelli 320KS stem. Worked because of the metal, fine metal wire that's in the pipe cleaner. It made drilling very difficult. I had to straighten out the stem and ended up having to have a stem made. I don't make stems. I might get into that one of these days, but so let me see what I can figure out here. Okay, what I decided to do was just take a little piece of paper towel, twist it up, and I've got a little concoction of beeswax and olive oil that makes a paste that I use on rusticated pipes. I think that was 1 ounce beeswax and 6 ounces of olive oil. And you melt that all down together and then just let it solidify. It's handy stuff. So that's what I've done. And you can see that there, and it's coated with the beeswax and olive oil. And so I will lay in some super glue on that, and even if it doesn't pull out, I at least can drill it out or cut it out or whatever, because it won't have a solid core. All right, I'll give that a shot. Well, that was fairly successful. It did pull out, so now that does, I know, look a little lumpy. Because I don't want that glue to seep down, I will use an accelerator. This is the glue I was using. And then I've got an activator that I'll spray on it. The activator is great for making it dry quickly, but sometimes it can make it bubble a little bit. But I'm okay with that because I've got a good clear bore through the stem, so that looks like that's going pretty well so far. We're going to build up a few more coats on there, and then we'll start some filing. All right, the glue's dried. Let's do a little file work and evaluate our repair from there, and we may add some more glue. So I'll just start on that, and just a nice file in one direction. All right, I've done some filing and some sanding on the bottom side of that stem, and let's do a first round of buffing and see where I need to touch up some more at. All right, we've finished some more sanding. May have a little area right there, but we may have to sand a little bit more, but I'm gonna run it on the buffer and see how it looks. My buffer set up. I've got some gates here, back here in the back for my dust containment. Let's see if it's a little bit better. Yeah, just slightly better, I guess. Here we go. And then down to my shop back underneath. This buffer is originally made for jewelry, ink pens, and things like that, but it works really well. Slowest speed is 1750 and goes up from there. I don't know exactly what the top end has, but I'll start with some triply here and then some white diamond. But let's do a little buffing and we'll see how it looks from there. I like to buff a little bit before I know I'm finished, just to kind of give you an idea where we're at. That side is cleaned up pretty well. I think I've got a little something right here I've got to work with a little bit. And this other side, the buffing showed me I've got a little bit of a void right in there, so I'm gonna have to put a little glue in that void, clean it out good, and then it'll take a lot more sanding and buffing after that. But this just gives me an idea of how things are looking. Just did a little quick little buff. All right, done with the stem. It's looking pretty good. Satisfied with it. Backside with the repair. Not an exact match on the super glue, but that's tough to do. All right, this will do it for this first part. And part 2 will be turning our attention to the stumble. Sorry about that little frog in my throat. Thank you for joining me, and Hope to see you soon. Bye.